She once used a disabled man at the grocery store as a prop for her prank. She pretended he had stolen her purse, then screamed and filmed the poor man until store security arrived. When they realized it was fake, the man, who had Down syndrome, was in tears. Jada laughed it off. "Y'all soft," she told her viewers. "It's a joke. Chill." Another time, she broke into Nia's locked bedroom, destroyed her art supplies, and painted her walls with ketchup. She wrote "murder prank" in red letters, then screamed at Nia, pretending someone had broken in. Nia had a panic attack. Jada made $8,000 off the video. Then one day, Nia disappeared. We all panicked, except Jada. She told everyone not to worry. Even posted a video titled, "Where's Nia?" with a clickbait thumbnail of her fake crying. She made merch with Nia's face on it, shirts that said, "Missing" or "Hiding." It went viral. Sponsors poured in. She made money off her sister's misfortune. People thought it was another one of her elaborate hoaxes. Let me tell you a story about my once famous sister. Her name was Jada. Our parents were decent, hard-working people. Mom cleaned offices. Dad worked overnight shifts as a janitor. They weren't rich, but they raised us with love, decency, and limits. But Jada wanted more. She wanted followers. She wanted fame. She wanted money. When she was 14, someone told her about YouTube. That was the start of everything. She started skipping class to film skits and reaction videos. Her grades fell. Her attitude changed. And when her channel wasn't growing fast enough, she looked at other creators and saw the trend. Pranks. They were getting millions of views, so she escalated. It started out harmless, I guess, like the time she hid my PlayStation and pretended it was stolen. But then it got cruel. She staged my expulsion from school by forging a letter and recording my tears. She faked a phone call saying our parents died in a car crash. I collapsed. She laughed. She posted that.
"Bro, it's a prank. OMG, you were crying so hard. Look at this face. That's thumbnail gold."
You said mom and dad were dead. She didn't care. The comments gassed her up. "Queen of Savage. Poor kid got wrecked. Best prank channel ever." I hated it. But what could I do? I was 13. She was 17, famous, rich, and mean. And she wasn't just targeting me. Our older sister, Nia, was 18, quiet, artsy, and kind. She hated the spotlight. That made her the perfect victim. Once, Jada poured glue into Nia's sketchbook, then posted the reaction video titled, "Artist Sister's Sketches Ruined, Not Sorry LOL," while Nia cried. Another time, Jada locked her in a closet for 3 hours, saying she was testing if Nia could survive a zombie apocalypse. Nia had asthma. She had no inhaler in the closet. She nearly passed out. When mom screamed at Jada afterward, Jada clapped back.
"Relax, y'all act like she's dead. It's content, chill. Y'all just mad I make more than both of you cleaning schools."
She had a manager, sponsors, fans. She had no soul. Then came the worst one. She pushed Nia, literally, off a skateboard ramp while filming, called it extreme push prank. Nia dislocated her shoulder and screamed. Blood ran down her arm. Jada filmed it all, giggling. Dad was furious. "That's it. No more cameras, no more videos in this house."
"Bet. I'll get my own place, and when I'm rich enough, don't call me."
And just like that, she packed up, rented a tacky apartment with LED walls, and told her audience she'd escaped the haters. But she kept pushing boundaries. She once used a disabled man at the grocery store as a prop for her prank. She pretended he had stolen her purse, then screamed and filmed the poor man until store security arrived. When they realized it was fake, the man, who had Down syndrome, was in tears. Jada laughed it off. "Y'all soft," she told her viewers. "It's a joke. Chill." Another time, she broke into Nia's locked bedroom, destroyed her art supplies, and painted her walls with ketchup. She wrote "murder prank" in red letters, then screamed at Nia, pretending someone had broken in. Nia had a panic attack. Jada made $8,000 off the video. Then one day, Nia disappeared. We all panicked, except Jada. She told everyone not to worry. Even posted a video titled, "Where's Nia?" with a clickbait thumbnail of her fake crying. She made merch with Nia's face on it, shirts that said, "Missing or Hiding." It went viral. Sponsors poured in. She made money off her sister's misfortune. People thought it was another one of her elaborate hoaxes. So did the cops. The top comment read, "LOL, classic Jada. This better have a crazy twist." There was no twist. She filmed herself crying in front of her ring light. Full face of makeup, but tears for the algorithm.
Hey guys, this is not a prank. Nia's missing for real. I'm scared. If anyone has seen her, please contact us.
No one took it seriously. Top comment, "Fake tears again? Do better." Second comment, "She's probably hiding for the video finale." Third comment, "New low, exploiting family again." Even the police hesitated. "We've been burned by her before. We thought it was content." By the time they investigated, it was too late. Nia's body was found 2 weeks later in a lake. No foul play, just a slow decline no one noticed. She left a note in her sketchbook, half soaked and unreadable. She had been hurting for a long time. Jada still tried to vlog at the funeral. Grandma smacked the phone out of her hand.
Touch that camera again and I'll bury it with her.
When the truth hit the public, that Nia was really gone, people flipped. Not with sympathy, with rage. Comment section, after truth leaked. You made your sister a storyline. She died and you cashed in. You're not a creator, you're a curse. Jada's sponsors dropped her. Her channel was demonetized, then deleted. She got doxxed. Her friends vanished.
I thought she'd come back. I didn't mean.
But no one believed her. She had profited from pain too many times. She lost her apartment because money wasn't coming in as before. She moved back home. But the shame was unbearable. So she went to Grandma's. Now Grandma ain't sweet, and Grandma is a farmer, so basically Jada lives with Grandma in her farm.
You want a roof? You work the soil. You want food? You pull weeds. You got internet? Not on my land.
Jada cried, "Of course, no lashes, no filters, just dirt and silence." She tried to vlog. Grandma took her phone.
You film anything here, I break your fingers.
I wish I could say Jada changed, but I don't know. She feeds chickens now, shovels manure, milk goats. Real life, not the curated, scripted circus she once ruled. She talks to herself. Sometimes she still mimics the old intro, Jada, to an invisible camera.
What's up, Savage Squad? It's your girl.
Then silence. She hasn't posted in over a year. No one's asking. When I visit Grandma, sometimes I watch her dig potatoes. She doesn't look up. One time, she came and sat beside me.
I'm sorry.
I didn't respond. Couldn't.
I destroyed our family for likes. I'd trade all of it to undo it, but I can't. I really can't.
She sobbed. No ring light, no edits, no fans, just silence. So here I am, and Nia is gone. And Jada? She's still with Grandma on the farm, picking tomatoes with blistered hands and bitten nails. The downfall wasn't done yet. One night, a YouTuber named Lexagreen, a former friend and prank collaborator, dropped a nuclear expose titled, "Jada Unmasked, the Real Monster Behind the Camera." It was ugly, it was real, and it went viral overnight. In it, Lexa released never-before-seen footage of Jada mocking Nia's asthma attack, destroying her art while cackling, and whispering to the camera.
If Nia ever offed herself, I'd probably get 1 million subs overnight. Sad, but true.
People had always suspected Jada was cruel. Now, they had proof. The video hit 10 million views in 24 hours. And then came the stalker. Once her top fan, now her tormentor. He tweeted out her farm address with the hashtag, #RotWhereYouPlanted. It started as tire tracks on the driveway. Then came the teens, loud, laughing, recording. They piled out of a truck like they were visiting a zoo.
Oh my god, y'all, it's her! The murderer turned farmer!
Yo, Jada, how many subs did your sister's death get you?
Let's egg the coop! Chickens for clicks, right?
They threw trash at the porch. Spray-painted Clout Demon across the barn wall. One kid live-streamed it, narrating as he walked up to Jada, who was barefoot and shaking with rage. "Where's the ring light now, huh? Cry for the camera, queen of dead sisters." Jada lunged at him, but he dodged, laughing, filming it all. That's when Grandma stepped out, shotgun in hand.
One more word and your TikTok goes up in flames permanently.
They ran. Cowards always do. Jada stood frozen, eyes wide, cheeks red from the spit someone had hurled at her. Egg yolk dripped from her hair. Her once famous face covered in dirt and disgrace. And for the first time, the girl who had once made the world laugh cried where no one would ever care. The only ghost still haunting her now was the one she couldn't monetize, Nia. Thanks for watching. Do well to subscribe to the channel. Oh wait, there's nothing left. Thanks for watching, please subscribe.
You little thief. This ain't no buffet. You're not paying for anything here.
Let's see how hungry you are after a night outside. They locked me out, in the middle of winter. I curled up under the porch, shivering for hours. Sometimes she made me sleep in the garage. No blanket, just a cold floor and the smell of oil and metal. One morning, I woke up with a rat near my foot. I didn't scream. I was too used to staying quiet. She'd hit me with a belt sometimes too. Not hard enough to bruise, just enough to leave welts that faded fast. She knew where to hit.
If you ever call anyone for help, I'll tell them you tried to stab Lily. You think they'll believe you? A liar like you?
One night, I found Lily, 8 years old, ripping pages from my mom's old diary. When I tried to grab it back, Tamara slapped me so hard I saw stars.
Touch her again, and I'll tell the cops you hit her first. You think anyone's going to believe a charity case like you?
I ran to my room, locked the door, and cried into my mom's old scarf. That night, I decided I was done. I didn't pack anything, just took the scarf, the diary pages I could salvage, and crept out the window. I walked for hours, cold, hungry, scared. I ended up near the highway, slept behind a dumpster. That's where they found me, the Iron Fangs. Big guys on bikes, the kind of people your aunt would cross the street to avoid. My name is Eli, and if you're watching this, then maybe you're wondering how a 15-year-old kid like me ended up rolling with a biker gang and orchestrating a takedown that made local news. I wish I could say it was some rebellious teenage phase, or that I was chasing thrills. But the truth? I was running from the people who were supposed to protect me. Running from the woman who wore my mother's face, but none of her heart. My mom, God bless her soul, was everything. She was tough, kind, and funny in the way that made even sad days feel a little better. She worked herself sick, trying to give me a life. Hospital shifts, cleaning jobs, side hustles. I used to wait up for her just to see her for 5 minutes before she passed out on the couch, shoes still on. Then she got sick, real sick. She hid it at first, didn't want to scare me, but when the coughing wouldn't stop and her hair started falling out, there was no hiding anymore. I remember holding her hand in that cold hospital room, her voice a whisper.
Promise me something, baby. If anything happens to me, go with your Aunt Tamara. She's family.
I nodded. What else could I do? After she died, everything happened fast. Funeral, paperwork, boxes. I moved into my aunt's place the next day. At first, she was nice. Too nice almost. Always hugging me, cooking my favorite meals, telling me how she'd take care of me like her own. She even told me my mom left her some money, a little house, and a life insurance payout to help raise you right, she said. That was the last time she mentioned that money. 2 weeks later, things changed. It started small. Leftovers for dinner while her kids, Jerome and Lily, got hot meals. Clothes that didn't fit. Chores that kept me up until midnight.
You are not here to lounge around. We all do our part. Go scrub the bathroom, and I better not find one hair in that tub.
Her husband, Uncle Reggie, didn't care much either, except when he was yelling. Boy, you touch my tools again, I'll knock you through that damn wall. I hadn't touched his tools. I swear I hadn't. But it wasn't just the yelling or the chores or the leftovers. It was the feeling that I didn't belong, that I was something they were forced to keep. Worse than that, they used me. A few months in, I overheard Tamara talking on her computer, her voice fake sweet and high.
Yes, he's sick. Poor Eli's got some rare immune disorder. Donations help a lot, bless you.
Sick? I wasn't sick. But her social media was full of photos of me looking tired. She'd make me stay up, or cry, then snap the pictures.
Sit there. Look miserable. Now cry a little. People are more generous when they see tears.
She'd post fake hospital pictures too. Sometimes she'd make me lie in bed with wires taped to my arms while her daughter Lily held a teddy bear like we were in a children's ward. She even photoshopped an oxygen mask on one of the pictures.
Our sweet Eli just had another bad episode. Please help if you can. #hope for Ellie.
The worst part? People believed it. Checks came in. She posted photos of new things for me. A new bed, clothes, even a therapy dog. But I never saw any of it. She sold my mom's house too. Said it was for my future. Then I found out she put the deed in Reggie's name. And still, I scrubbed floors while her kids laughed at me. It got worse. One night, she locked the fridge. Said I was eating too much. I hadn't eaten all day. When I tried to sneak a slice of bread, she caught me and dragged me by the collar into the living room.
You little thief. This ain't no buffet. You're not paying for anything here.
Let's see how hungry you are after a night outside. They locked me out, in the middle of winter. I curled up under the porch, shivering for hours. Sometimes she made me sleep in the garage. No blanket, just a cold floor and the smell of oil and metal. One morning, I woke up with a rat near my foot. I didn't scream. I was too used to staying quiet. She'd hit me with a belt sometimes too. Not hard enough to bruise, just enough to leave welts that faded fast. She knew where to hit.
If you ever call anyone for help, I'll tell them you tried to stab Lily. You think they'll believe you? A liar like you?
One night, I found Lily, 8 years old, ripping pages from my mom's old diary. When I tried to grab it back, Tamara slapped me so hard I saw stars.
Touch her again, and I'll tell the cops you hit her first. You think anyone's going to believe a charity case like you?
I ran to my room, locked the door, and cried into my mom's old scarf. That night, I decided I was done. I didn't pack anything, just took the scarf, the diary pages I could salvage, and crept out the window. I walked for hours, cold, hungry, scared. I ended up near the highway, slept behind a dumpster. That's where they found me, the Iron Fangs. Big guys on bikes, the kind of people your aunt would cross the street to avoid. Yo, kid, you all right? I tried to run. Relax, Squirt, we ain't gonna eat you. I told them everything. I don't know why. Maybe because they listened. Maybe because Blaze's eyes didn't look at me like I was trash. Maybe because Moose handed me his jacket without saying a word. They took me in, taught me things. Blaze showed me how to ride. Moose taught me mechanics. Queenie, the only woman in the gang, taught me how to hack. I became one of them. Ghost, they called me, because I moved quiet and never smiled much. But I never forgot. I wanted revenge, real revenge. So we made a plan. First, I leaked everything. Using Queenie's tricks, we hacked Tamara's fake charity accounts. I posted the truth, with photo evidence, videos, even a clip of her faking my illness for TikTok.
Let the internet eat her alive.
Then, we tracked the house she bought with my mom's money. Moose helped forge some legal documents showing that Reggie had committed fraud on the deed. Let's see how he explains owning property he ain't paid for. Blaze had the final blow. We're going to take back everything they stole. We waited for the perfect day, Tamara's birthday. She had thrown a lavish party, all funded by donation money. We crashed it. 5 bikes, engines roaring, smoke bombs tossed in the air. Guests screamed. Tamara ran out in heels, mascara smeared.
Who the hell are you people?
I stepped forward, helmet off. Just family, right, Auntie? The color drained from her face.
Eli? Oh my God, thank God, we were so worried.
Save it, you're done. We handed over a flash drive to a local reporter. Everything from the fake donations to the abuse. The footage went viral within hours. The police came that same evening. When they arrived, Reggie tried to bolt. Lily dropped her phone trying to delete files. Tamara kept screaming about lies. Ma'am, you're under arrest for fraud, child endangerment, and theft.
No, you don't understand. He's lying. He ran away.
We've got evidence and witnesses, including your own nephew. They lost everything. The house, the money, the charity pages got shut down. Reggie got jail time. Tamara? House arrest and a fine she'll be paying for the rest of her life. Her own kids got taken by social services. The investigator later told me they had been tipped off not only by the video, but also because an old co-worker of my mom's had tried to find me. Said my mom once promised him I'd inherit her old nursing scholarship fund. When he couldn't find me, he went digging. That's when they realized Tamara had hidden me. I testified in court. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. But when I finished, the judge nodded at me. "You're brave, young man, and you've got a new family now." He was right. The Iron Fangs weren't just a gang. They were my people, my family. After being sentenced to house arrest, Tamara tried to play victim online, posting filtered photos and calling it her healing journey. But the Iron Fangs knew she hadn't learned a thing. One cold night, her lights suddenly went out. Before she could react, 3 masked bikers in black leather burst through the back door.
What the hell? You can't be here, I have rights.
They said nothing. They snatched her up, cut her ankle monitor, and tossed it into the sink where the garbage disposal shredded it. She was blindfolded and stuffed into a van as engines roared to life. Hours later, deep in the desert, the van stopped. She was dragged out, stripped of her coat, shoes, and wig. They dropped a map at her feet.
Please, I could die out here. What do you want from me?
Just a walk.
Wait, is that you, Eli?
No answer. Only a bottle of sand dropped beside her, labeled, "You medicated his pain with lies. Here's a dose of your own." As the engines fired up again and the bikes roared off into the darkness, a distorted voice echoed behind her. "You walked me into hell. Now walk yourself out." 2 days later, she was found wandering barefoot and incoherent, whispering about ghosts and revenge. No one believed her. No one ever would. Meanwhile, Reggie was finding out what it meant to face real consequences. Within 2 weeks in prison, the video of my story had made its way into the news feeds of inmates and guards alike. One morning during breakfast, a group of men gathered near his table. "Yo, is that the uncle from that ghost kid story? Thought he'd look bigger. Guess child abusers come in fun size too." Reggie tried to ignore them, hunched over his tray. One guard watching from a distance smirked. "Reggie thinks he can hide in plain sight." Word spread fast. In prison, people like Reggie were less than scum. You hurt a kid, you become everyone's punching bag. One night, his bunk was covered in urine. His shoes were gone. His commissary snacks, stolen. And every morning, someone had carved the word liar into the wood frame of his bed. One morning, it changed to ghost. Reggie snapped. He cornered a new inmate, friendly, quiet, and seemingly harmless, named Trey, who had been pretending to befriend him. "They're messing with me, man. I need backup. You seem solid. Help me out, yeah?" Trey just smiled. "Help you? You mean like you helped that kid, Eli?" Reggie froze. "You think I didn't know who you were the second I saw you? Ghost rides with the Fangs. You messed with one of ours." The next morning, Reggie was found curled in the corner of the yard, bruised, humiliated, and silent. Later that day, one of the guards dropped a folded printout on his tray. Reggie opened it. It was a meme, a screenshot of my testimony on the courthouse steps. The caption read, "He locked me in a garage, now he's locked up forever. Smile, Reggie, you're famous now." As for me, I ride, I build engines, I help other kids in bad situations. Blaze says I've got a gift for finding lost things, especially people. Moose still calls me Squirt, even though I'm almost taller than him now. Sometimes I visit my mom's grave. I tell her everything. You were right. Family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the ones who ride beside you when no one else will. I lost everything once, but I took it back. And I'll never let anyone steal from me again. Thanks for watching. No, she isn't. She isn't some evil mastermind. She loves me, Freddy. I wish you'd just give her a chance. The tension reached its peak one night when Dad called me in a fury. "Freddy, I need to see you. Now." Find Agatha pacing, and Dad holding a tablet with security footage queued up. "Hey, Dad, what's wrong?" "Someone broke into the house last night.
And we think it was you, Freddy.
Me? Are you serious? Agatha pointed to the screen. The footage showed a masked figure ransacking the living room, wearing a hoodie that looked suspiciously like one I owned, as well as pants that had a logo on them that I had personally made.
Freddy, the only way I'll believe you is if you let us search your place. Show me that nothing from my house is there.
Unfortunately, that was a mistake. When I took them over to my house and let them begin to search, sure enough, Agatha found all kinds of her jewelry in one of my dresser drawers. I of course had no idea how they had gotten there, but that was all the proof my father needed.
How could you?
Dad, I didn't do this. I swear. I don't know how those got there. But he didn't believe me. He called the police, and within hours, I was sitting in a holding cell, replaying the nightmare over and over. My name is Freddie Timmons, and my father, Victor Timmons, has always been my hero. Growing up as the son of a wealthy, self-made businessman, I never felt neglected or overshadowed. Victor was the kind of father who made time for me, despite the demands of running his multi-million-dollar company. He was warm, generous, and never let his success change who he was. We had the kind of relationship others envied: weekend fishing trips, late-night chess matches, and heart-to-heart talks about life. It felt like nothing could shake the bond we had. But everything changed when my mother got sick. Watching cancer take her away was the hardest thing I've ever endured. For months, Dad and I tried to hold each other together, but after her death, it was like something broke inside him.
Freddy, I just need some time, all right?
I get it, Dad, but we should talk. About anything. I miss her too.
I know you do. I can't right now.
He shut himself away, drowning in work and memories. I gave him space, thinking he'd eventually come back to me. But days turned into months, and the distance only grew. It pained my heart to know that my dad was suffering, and that I couldn't help him. I think he just found it difficult to see me, since I looked a lot like her. So seeing me just kept bringing up pain for him. Even though it wasn't good for either of us, I gave him space, but I definitely wasn't ready for what happened next. Dad reached out to me to tell me that he had met someone. I was reluctant at first, but I was just glad that we were talking again, and I didn't question why. In hindsight, I really should have, though.
Freddy, I want you to meet Agatha,
he said one evening over dinner. His voice was lighter than it had been in years. I could see just how excited he was about introducing her to me. Agatha, huh? You must be special if my old man's smiling again.
Oh, he's told me so much about you, Freddy. You're just as charming as he described.
Part of me wanted to dislike her on principle. No one could replace Mom. But Agatha seemed kind, funny, and genuinely interested in my life. Over the next few months, we all grew closer. And for the first time in years, I felt like I was getting my dad back. But things weren't as perfect as they seemed. The first crack in Agatha's mask appeared during a family dinner. Dad and I were reminiscing about an old road trip when Agatha interrupted.
You two are so close. Sometimes I wonder if there's room for anyone else in Victor's life.
Of course there is, although I'm glad he's happy again.
Really? Because sometimes it feels like you're trying to keep him all to yourself.
I laughed it off, but her words lingered and her expression was cold. At first I thought it was a joke, but seeing her not even smile made me wonder. Over the next few weeks, little things started to pile up. Agatha would misinterpret my words, twisting them when she repeated them to Dad.
Victor, Freddy said he thinks you're rushing into things with me.
What? Freddy, is that true?
No, I never said that. Agatha, why would you...
Oh, maybe I misunderstood. I'm so sorry, Freddy.
Huh. Well, what did you say, Freddy?
I had said that it was great how quickly you two were able to develop such an intimate relationship. You two really seem to have a lot in common.
Oh well, that's quite the simple misunderstanding. See, my love, you have nothing to worry about.
Her innocent smile masked something darker. It felt very much like she didn't like having me around. One afternoon, Dad and I were walking through the garden, discussing a potential new investment for the company. I don't know, Dad. The market's volatile. I'd be cautious about moving forward with that.
Perhaps you're right. Agatha seemed quite sure it was a good move, though.
I didn't know that the idea had been Agatha's, and I regretted what I said later when Agatha approached me. She was furious, and I felt more than a little concerned with the way she approached me.
I heard you telling Victor not to trust my advice about his investments.
What? That's not what I said.
Well, he seemed upset when he told me. Are you sure you're not trying to undermine me?
No, Agatha. I had no idea that the investment idea came from you. I just gave my opinion on it. I have no intentions of getting in between you and my father.
See that you don't, because if I find out that you are trying to divide us, I will make you regret ever even thinking about it.
Agatha, calm down. You make my father happy. I am not trying to undermine you. There's no need to get upset.
Don't you dare tell me to calm down, you insolent jackass. You haven't seen me upset yet, but if you do, then you'll best guard yourself because I will claw your damn eyes out. So watch yourself and choose your words more carefully.
It became clear that she had something of an anger issue, and I think she saw me as competition for my father's love. I really felt like she was beginning to suspect that she was sowing seeds of doubt, trying to turn us against each other. One day, I got a call from Dad. His tone was colder than usual. We had been planning a huge charity gala that would help us network and expand the business.
Freddie, did you tell the staff to exclude Agatha from the upcoming charity gala invitations?
What? No, I don't even handle that.
Well, Agatha's upset. She thinks you're trying to embarrass her.
No, Dad, I am not trying to do that. I promise you.
Well, she is saying something different. I'm not sure what to believe.
I confronted Agatha later that evening, trying to get to the bottom of what was going on, although I pretty much suspected that she was just playing silly games. Why are you lying to Dad about me?
Lying? I would never. You are always accusing me of lying. It makes me so angry.
Damn it, Agatha. Just stop it already. You know I didn't touch those invitations. So why did you tell my father that I tried to exclude you?
I just told him how I felt, and it really felt like you were excluding me from planning the event, so I assumed that you were trying to exclude me. Maybe you don't realize how hurtful you can be.
From then on, it was one thing after another. She accused me of mocking her at a party, sabotaging her attempts to redecorate the house, and even hiding her favorite earrings. Each time, Dad would confront me, and each time, I'd deny it. Although my father was quickly beginning to believe her claims, the more I denied them, the more she made, and it made me look guilty. I just couldn't get my father to see the manipulation for what it was.
Freddie, I don't know what's going on between you two, but you need to stop antagonizing her.
Dad, she's the one causing problems. Can't you see that? She's manipulating you.
No, she isn't. She isn't some evil mastermind. She loves me, Freddie. I wish you'd just give her a chance.
The tension reached its peak one night when Dad called me in a fury.
Freddie, I need to see you. Now.
I arrived at his mansion to find Agatha pacing and Dad holding a tablet with security footage queued up. Hey, Dad, what's wrong?
Someone broke into the house last night.
And we think it was you, Freddie.
Me? Are you serious? Agatha pointed to the screen. The footage showed a masked figure ransacking the living room, wearing a hoodie that looked suspiciously like one I owned, as well as pants that had a logo on them that I had personally made.
Freddie, the only way I'll believe you is if you let us search your place. Show me that nothing from my house is there.
Unfortunately, that was a mistake. When I took them over to my house and let them begin to search, sure enough, Agatha found all kinds of her jewelry in one of my dresser drawers. I of course had no idea how they had gotten there, but that was all the proof my father needed.
How could you?
Dad, I didn't do this. I swear. I don't know how those got there. But he didn't believe me. He called the police, and within hours, I was sitting in a holding cell, replaying the nightmare over and over. When the officers questioned me, I showed them my passport and flight tickets. I'd only returned from a business trip half an hour before Dad and Agatha called me. I had been out of town for an impromptu trip to see a friend of mine that was going through some troubles of their own. It was impossible for me to have committed the crime, but my father wouldn't let me tell him that. Once he saw the jewelry, he would not listen to me. The police believed me once they spoke with the guards at the airport and my friend. They were of course confused, though, as to how the thief not only wore my clothes, but had placed the jewelry in my house. My alibi checked out, but the police promised to keep an eye on me as a person of interest. I of course suspected that Agatha had set all of this up, but I wasn't sure exactly how. The police, to their credit, promised me that they would look into it, but I knew I couldn't rely on them alone. I started following Agatha, determined to uncover the truth. It didn't take long. One afternoon, I spotted her at a cafe, laughing with a man I didn't recognize. He was wearing a watch, Dad's watch. One of the ones that had been stolen during the break-in. I took several photos and then rushed to the police station. The police investigated the man and found out that he had a history of breaking into people's homes, and so they raided the man's apartment. Inside, they found more of Dad's belongings. Under pressure, he confessed everything.
At first, Agatha hired me, but then we started having sex and became a couple. When I asked if she was going to inherit a lot of money when the old man kicked it, she said that there was a problem and the only way to get rid of the problem was to frame her stepson.
So, how did you do it?
That was easy. I broke into his apartment and stole some of his clothes that Agatha told me to take, and I wore them along with a mask when I robbed Victor's house. Then I took some of the jewelry I stole and hid it in Freddie's house like she told me to. We needed to make sure that he was off of the will so that when we offed him, that all his money would go to us. And the only way to do that was to make Victor hate his own son.
Offed him? So you two were planning on killing Victor?
Yeah. Agatha promised me that we would be crazy rich, but I'm a thief, not a murderer. Stealing from some old rich dude is one thing, but killing him, that was all on her.
Is that so? Will you testify to that in court?
If you give me a reduced sentence, then yeah, I will.
Agatha was arrested for conspiracy, burglary, and attempted murder. As for Agatha's boyfriend, his sentence was reduced since he cooperated with the police. When Dad learned the truth about Agatha, he was devastated.
Freddie, I don't know how I let this happen. I was blind.
She was manipulative, Dad. It's not your fault. He didn't wait more than a second before calling his lawyer, and he had the lawyer draw up divorce paperwork. As she was being processed and sent to prison for decades, she received paperwork saying that they were divorced, and because she had tried to have him killed, he was awarded everything and didn't have to give her a single penny. My father dodged a literal bullet and was incredibly grateful. He apologized dozens of times, but I kept reminding him that love had made him blind and that all was forgiven. After that, we promised that we would never again let anyone come between us. In the end, the ordeal strengthened our bond. For the first time in years, it felt like we were truly a family again, and no one would ever tear us apart. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more amazing stories. They say that losing a parent is one of the hardest things a child can experience. I was only 13 when my father died in a car accident, and in many ways, I lost both parents that day. My name is Gerald, and this is the story of how my mother's grief turned to resentment, how her new boyfriend became my tormentor, and how I ultimately had to save myself from their deadly plans. My dad was everything to me. He coached my baseball team, helped with my science projects, and always made time for me despite his demanding job as an investment banker. My mother, Linda, had always been more distant, but Dad's presence balanced things out. Our family wasn't perfect, but it was functional, at least until the accident. The night the police came to our door with the news, something in my mother broke. Not in the way you'd expect, not with tears and heartbreak, but like a dam bursting, releasing years of pent-up frustration.
Free, I'm finally free.
Free? What does that mean?
It means I don't have to keep pretending anymore. Neither you or your loser father can hold me back from living the kind of life I've always wanted to live. I'm free to finally have some fun.
Those were the first words she whispered after the officers left. I chose to ignore her, as I figured that she was just going through some terrible grief and was talking nonsense. And I cried and ran into my room to get away from her. However, those words would haunt me for years to come. Within weeks of Dad's funeral, Mom transformed. She dyed her brown hair platinum blonde, started wearing clothes that belonged on someone half her age, and began going out nearly every night. Our home, once filled with warmth and the smell of home-cooked meals, became a neglected shell.
Gerald, there's leftover pizza in the fridge. I'm going out. Don't wait up.
But Mom, I have my science fair tomorrow. You promised you'd help me finish my project.
Figure it out yourself. I've wasted enough years playing mommy. It's my turn to live now.
That became our new normal. Some nights, I'd wake up at 3 a.m. to find her stumbling through the door with her makeup smeared, reeking of alcohol. Other days, she wouldn't come home at all. I learned to cook for myself, do my own laundry, and essentially raise myself at 13. One particularly bad night, I had a 103-degree fever. I called her cell phone repeatedly, desperate for help.
What? I'm busy.
Mom, I'm really sick. I think I need to go to the doctor. I can't stop throwing up and everything. Hurts.
Take some Tylenol and go to bed. I'll check on you in the morning.
Can you please come home? The fever is so high that I'm hallucinating.
No, you little piece of crap. I'm having fun and I'm not coming home because you have a little cold. Take the medicine and sleep it off, or better yet, just take the whole bottle and do me a favor.
She didn't come home until the following afternoon, by which time my fever had broken on its own. When I confronted her, her response cut deeper than any physical pain.
You know what? Your father coddled you too much. The world is tough, Gerald. Get used to it.
I could have died, and you act like you don't even care.
That's because I don't. Haven't you figured it out by now?
I truly no longer knew who this woman was that was living with me. It was like she had become possessed by some evil demon, and the mother I had always known was long gone. About 6 months after Dad died, Mom brought home Tony. He was tall, with slicked back hair, a permanent 5 o'clock shadow, and eyes that seemed to calculate everything in terms of profit and loss. From the moment we met, I knew he was trouble. So this is the kid, huh? Doesn't look like much.
He's just like his father, always in the way, and always whining about something.
A quick smack upside the head usually fixes that.
Yeah, Tony, I bet you're right.
They laughed like I wasn't even in the room. I could smell the alcohol on both their breaths, even though it was only 4 p.m. Something about Tony made my skin crawl. The way he looked at our home, assessing its value. The way he eyed the framed photo of Dad like he was sizing up competition that was already gone. Within 2 months, Tony had moved in. That's when I found out what he really was. A small-time criminal with big ambitions who saw my mother as his ticket to a comfortable life. I overheard him on the phone one night, talking about merchandise that needed to be moved and making threats that made my blood run cold. The first time Tony hit me, it was because I'd used his coffee mug. The second time, I'd made too much noise while he was nursing a hangover. By the third time, he didn't even bother with excuses. When I finally worked up the courage to tell Mom about the abuse, her reaction destroyed what little hope I had left. Mom, Tony hit me again. This time he used his belt. Look.
What do you want me to do about it? Maybe if you weren't such a whiny little brat, he wouldn't have to discipline you.
Discipline me. He's not my father. He has no right to touch me.
You know what? I wish you had died with your father. Then all his money would have come straight to me instead of half of it being tied up in a trust for you until you're 18. You're nothing but a burden and a reminder of the years I wasted.
Her words hurt more than any of Tony's blows. That night, I locked myself in my room and cried until there were no tears left. Then I began counting. 1,825 days until my 18th birthday, when I could access my trust fund and escape this nightmare. I endured 2 more years of hell. Tony's abuse escalated, Mom's indifference deepened, and I learned to make myself as invisible as possible. School became my sanctuary, and my best friend Mike's house became my weekend refuge whenever possible. Then, 3 months before my 16th birthday, I overheard a conversation that changed everything. So the kid's trust is worth how much?
Almost $2 million. John had excellent life insurance, and his investments have done well.
And if the kid was out of the picture, you'd get it all?
As his only living parent, yes. But we've been through this. The court would be suspicious if anything happened to him.
Not if it looked like an accident. Carbon monoxide poisoning happens all the time. We rig the furnace, make sure the kid's home alone, and we have an alibi for being out. By the time anyone finds him, we're in the clear.
I don't know. Are you sure we could get away with it?
Think about it, baby. $2 million. We could move somewhere warm, somewhere with no extradition. No more scams, no more nickel and dime jobs. Just luxury for the rest of our lives. Trust me, the plan is foolproof.
He is the last loose end that is keeping me tied down. Without him, I would be truly free. Okay, let's do it.
My blood ran cold as I heard them plan my murder. They settled on doing it the following Friday, when they thought I'd be home alone studying for midterms. I knew I needed to act fast. I called Mike and arranged to stay at his house that Friday night, claiming I needed help with chemistry. Then I raided Mom's medicine cabinet and crushed her sleeping pills into a fine powder. The last piece of the puzzle was the bottle of whiskey Tony kept in the kitchen, the one they both drank from every night. Friday came, and from my room, I heard Tony head downstairs and work on something before coming up and heading towards the kitchen. I watched them from the corner of my eye as they prepared for their evening ritual. Tony poured 2 generous glasses of the doctored whiskey as he whispered to my mother.
Is it done?
Yeah, I made it so the furnace will blast out lots of carbon monoxide. We can stay for a few hours before it starts to affect us, but we need to leave soon.
Perfect.
I pretended like I couldn't hear them, but I knew all too well what they were talking about. Kid, don't you have studying to do or something? Yeah, but I wanted to tell you both that I made dinner first. It's in the oven staying warm.
Since when do you cook for us?
I just felt like doing something nice for once. I smiled innocently as they exchanged confused glances before shrugging it off. They sipped their whiskey while I packed my overnight bag in secret. I didn't want them to suspect that I knew what they were intending to do. You two look tired. Long week? Something like that? Why are you being so weird? Just in a good mood. You know, life is full of surprises. Sometimes things don't go as planned. I watched as their eyelids grew heavy, their speech slurred. Tony struggled to get up from the couch, but collapsed back down. Mom didn't even notice as her glass slipped from her fingers onto the carpet. I knew they had planned to set up the gas leak and then leave the house, but now they wouldn't be going anywhere. I took one last look at them before I left for Mike's house. Part of me felt a twinge of guilt, but it was quickly replaced by the cool certainty that I was merely turning their trap against them. It was self-defense, nothing more. The next morning, I returned home as if nothing had happened. The silence in the house was deafening. I found them exactly where I'd left them, motionless on the couch. There wasn't even a smell of gas in the air. As a precaution, though, I went outside before calling 911, my voice cracking with practiced distress. The paramedics arrived within minutes. They kept me outside while they confirmed what I already knew. A Detective Johnson interviewed me later that day, his eyes full of sympathy. It appears to have been a terrible accident, son. The gas line to your furnace was faulty. They likely didn't even know what was happening. They were fine when I left for my friend's house. Carbon monoxide is known as the silent killer for a reason. I'm so sorry for your loss. 2 weeks later, Dad's attorney, Mr. Pearson, informed me that as the sole heir, I would inherit not only my trust fund, but also all of Mom's assets once I turned 18. Until then, my Uncle Henry would be my guardian. Your father was very thorough in his will, Gerald. He wanted to make sure you would be taken care of, no matter what. What about my mom's boyfriend, Tony? Did he have any claim? None whatsoever. They weren't married, and even if they had been, your mother's will, drafted after your father's death, left everything to you. Uncle Henry moved in the following week. He was Dad's younger brother and had always been kind to me. Under his guardianship, I finally experienced what it was like to have a caring adult in my life again. When I turned 18, I sold the house to Uncle Henry at a fraction of its value. It was the least I could do after all he'd done for me. The combined inheritance was more than enough to buy a small condo near the university I'd be attending and pay for my education in full. Sometimes I think about that night and wonder if I could have chosen a different path. But then I remember the cold calculation in Tony's voice as he planned my death, and my mother's willing complicity. They had set the trap themselves. I merely chose not to walk into it. Today, I'm finishing my degree in psychology. I want to help kids who have suffered abuse and neglect, to be for them what no one was for me when I needed it most. Life has given me a second chance, and I intend to make the most of it, not just for myself, but for others who find themselves in the darkness I once knew. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below saying I subscribed, and we will try our best to reply to your comment.
From inside, I could hear unmistakable sounds of intimacy. My heart pounded as I crept closer and peeked through the crack in the door. Judging by the sounds that were coming through the door, I could hear that Tom was in there with a woman and that they were passionately having sex, but I was not prepared to see who the woman was. The very sight of her made my blood run cold. Tom was there, with Alicia. They were tangled together, completely unaware of my presence. My hands shook as I pulled out my phone and started recording. I honestly don't know why I had the impulse to do so, but I was grateful later that I did. They went at it for dozens of minutes, but it wasn't just what they were doing that horrified me. It was what they said afterward.
Babe, I wish I could marry you instead of Jesse. You're the one that I truly love.
We can't do anything until your father is gone. If it comes out that we have been having an affair, then we're screwed. The prenup I signed with your father means I'll lose everything if I cheat. He has to disappear first.
Disappear? Do you mean that he needs to die?
Yes. I just need to find a way to make it happen.
I'll do it. I'll get rid of him. I would do anything for you. And after I've married Jessie, you can take care of her for me. We'll take out a big life insurance policy on her first. It'll be perfect.
Hi, my name is Jessie, and this is the story of how my life almost fell apart because of a man named Tom. At first, I thought I'd met the perfect partner. Tom was charming, attentive, and seemed to have his life together. Everyone that we knew all said that we appeared to be the perfect pairing, but that was all just a complete lie. As I got to know him, I started to notice the cracks. Cracks that would eventually split wide open and reveal something horrifying. Things were great between Tom and I, in the beginning. He was sweet, always bringing me little surprises and making me feel special. He would bring me flowers all the time and for no reason, and say it was because he was thinking of me and wanted me to have something beautiful. But that changed when he introduced me to his father, Richard, and his stepmother, Alicia. From the moment I met Alicia, something felt off. Very off.
This is my Jessie. Dad, Alicia, isn't she great?
Alicia's eyes lingered on Tom a moment too long before she turned to me with a wide smile. To me, though, the smile appeared very fake. There was no real warmth to it.
Oh, she's lovely, Tom. Just lovely. It's a pleasure to meet you, Jessie.
Yeah. It's a pleasure to meet you as well. Her words seemed kind, but there was something in her tone that made my skin crawl. Throughout the evening, I noticed little things. The way Tom and Alicia sat a bit too close, how her hand would linger on his arm, and the way they exchanged glances that felt intimate. I told myself I was imagining things. But as time went on, those moments became harder to ignore. One weekend, we went to visit Richard and Alicia for dinner. It was a fantastic meal that Richard had prepared, and he took great delight in watching us eat and enjoy it. During dessert, Alicia spilled some wine on her dress.
Oh dear, I'm so clumsy sometimes. Tom, could you help me in the kitchen find something I can clean this out with?
I can help.
No need, dear. Tom knows where everything is.
Yeah, it's no trouble. It's okay, Jessie. I'll be back in a bit.
They disappeared into the kitchen, and while Richard and I made small talk, I couldn't help but notice the low murmur of their voices and the occasional burst of laughter. When they finally returned, Tom looked flustered, and Alicia was all smiles. It felt very odd, so later as we drove home, I brought it up. Do you think it's a little strange how close you and Alicia are?
No, not really. Come on, Jess. She's just a caring stepmom. She's always been very loving. I think it's because she's wanted me to see her as my mom and not just my stepmom. Don't overthink it.
I wanted to believe him, so I let it go. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. There was just something about the way they were around each other that felt weird. After some time, I just convinced myself that I was being paranoid and that nothing was going on. Once I did, our relationship really began to flourish. A few months later, Tom proposed. It was a beautiful moment, and for a while, I forgot about my unease. We set a wedding date and started planning. Or rather, I started planning. Every time I asked Tom for help, he'd have an excuse.
I'm working extra hours to pay for the wedding. You're so good at organizing this stuff. You've got it handled, right?
I guess so. But I could really use some help. At first, I was understanding. Weddings are expensive, and I appreciated his effort. But then I noticed something strange. Despite all his overtime, our bank account wasn't growing the way it should. I mean, he was easily putting in over 10 hours a week in overtime, and that extra money should have been visible in the joint account, but it wasn't. Suspicious, I decided to pay him a surprise visit at work one night. I don't know what I expected to find, but I needed to confirm that he was indeed working overtime, and not just playing hooky in order to get out of helping me with the wedding planning. When I pulled into the parking lot of his office, I immediately noticed something odd. His car was there, but the lot was otherwise empty except for one other vehicle. It looked familiar, but I couldn't place it. Quietly, I made my way inside and up to his office. As I approached the door, I froze. From inside, I could hear unmistakable sounds of intimacy. My heart pounded as I crept closer and peeked through the crack in the door. Judging by the sounds that were coming through the door, I could hear that Tom was in there with a woman and that they were passionately having sex, but I was not prepared to see who the woman was. The very sight of her made my blood run cold. Tom was there with Alicia. They were tangled together, completely unaware of my presence. My hands shook as I pulled out my phone and started recording. I honestly don't know why I had the impulse to do so, but I was grateful later that I did. They went at it for dozens of minutes, but it wasn't just what they were doing that horrified me. It was what they said afterward.
Babe, I wish I could marry you instead of Jesse. You're the one that I truly love.
We can't do anything until your father is gone. If it comes out that we have been having an affair, then we're screwed. The prenup I signed with your father means I'll lose everything if I cheat. He has to disappear first.
Disappear? Do you mean that he needs to die?
Yes. I just need to find a way to make it happen.
I'll do it. I'll get rid of him. I would do anything for you. And after I've married Jessie, you can take care of her for me. We'll take out a big life insurance policy on her first. It'll be perfect.
That's a wonderful idea. We can use the money from the inheritance from your father and the life insurance from that dumb bitch to restart our life. Soon, it'll just be us.
Terrified, I slipped away as quietly as I could and drove straight to Richard's house. When I showed him the video, his face crumpled with anger and heartbreak. I hated having to show him it, but I knew that he needed to see it.
My own son. How could he do this? How could they do this?
I don't know, but there is something seriously wrong with them. They are planning to kill us. We need to go to the police right now. Together, we went to the police. Thankfully, they took the threat seriously and launched an investigation. The next day, officers went to arrest Tom and Alicia, but the pair fled, leading police on a high-speed chase that was covered on all the local news stations. It ended in a horrific crash that left both of them in vegetative states. The police told us that if they woke up, that they would be arrested, but their hands were tied otherwise. At the hospital, the doctors gave Richard and I all the details about what was going on with Tom and Alicia. We were given a choice. On one hand, we could keep them on life support with the hope they'd recover, although there was no guarantee that they would ever wake up. Or we could pull the plug and let them go. Richard didn't hesitate. Staring daggers at Alicia, he coldly told them what he wanted.
Pull the plug on Alicia. She doesn't deserve another chance. Are you 100% sure about this, sir? Yes. As far as I'm concerned, she died when I found out she was sleeping with my son.
Then he turned to me. There was a lot of sympathy in his eyes.
I won't blame you for whatever you decide about Tom. Do what you need to do.
Are you sure?
Yes. It is a hard choice, but it is your choice to make.
I looked at Tom, the man I thought I'd spend my life with, but all I could see was betrayal. He had cheated on me, and even worse, he'd planned to kill me. How could I forgive that? Pull the plug. He made his choices. Now I'm making mine. Seconds later, both Tom and Alicia passed away. Part of me felt angry that their deaths were so peaceful. After the callous way they had planned to kill Richard and I wanted them to suffer, but having them pass away would have to be justice enough. It took years of therapy to process everything, but eventually I found peace. I learned to trust my instincts and promised myself I'd never ignore red flags again. Today, I'm with someone who treats me with kindness and respect, and I finally feel safe. If there's one thing I've learned, I tell my friends, it's to trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. As for Richard, I haven't heard from him since then. I can't imagine that he is in a good place mentally. After all, he did lose his son and wife on that day, and even though we felt justified with our choice, it doesn't make it completely easy to deal with. In the end, Tom and Alicia thought they could get away with their plans, but they got unlucky, and their horrific ideas were discovered, and they paid the ultimate price. And while I wouldn't wish what I went through on anyone, I'm grateful for the strength it gave me. Sometimes the worst experiences teach us the most important lessons. Thanks for watching.